Overtime, your one-stop shop for RLCS and all things Rocket League eSports. I'm your host, Wavepunk. I got a findable carpet and Quinn Lobdell, two of the weirdest names in Rocket League, here on the desk with me.
But two of the best.
Two of the best.
Thank you.
Two of the best?
Unlike somebody else over here.
Best and weird the same?
Name a better one off the top of your head right
Wavepunk.
now. A better
Easy.
one. A better one.
I think it's better.
All right. Well,
I mean, at least I spent
child
time
this year.
I spent time thinking about my name.
Oh, really?
I got mine and looked at it and thought it was cool.
Yep. Xbox was like, you were like, this is what I thought of. And Xbox is like, I thought of something better.
And I was like,
I guess so.
And I was like, you're right, Xbox. That's great.
Where did Wavepunk come from? You asked me about mine. Where's Wavepunk?
I spent a good 2 months thinking about Wavepunk.
And that's all you came up with?
2 months down the drain.
No, it was like, because okay, steampunk, the whole culture thing of steampunk, it's like, it's a alternate form of energy, and how would the world change, okay? So I was like, well, what's the core form of energy for me? And it's music, so waves, sound waves, Wavepunk. What would the world be like if all the energy changed?
Sounds awfully pretentious.
Super?
Yeah,
sure.
It sounds
really,
way
really
cooler when you
pretentious.
explain it than just the word Wavepunk. Not gonna lie.
It has nothing to do with surfing, which is what everybody thinks it's about. But speaking of surfing, speaking of summer, the Brisk Summer Series happened a few weeks back, and here from North America, we had some fantastic plays. Take a look at the top 5 plays that happened in that tournament. Starting it off with Squishy. Ceiling shots has been the whole new thing with the meta here. Squishy's a big part of driving that forward.
Right, Jazer was one of the first to really kind of introduce us to the concept of ceiling shots. But Squishy, wow, you can see he's had a lot of practice hitting such a great shot. Squishy really just not afraid to go for ceiling shots in any situation. That's one of the scariest things about playing against this guy.
One of the more exciting reasons one of the more exciting reasons of seeing him in the next RLCS for me.
Yeah, then we had Torment coming up next with the play. These guys, the things that they are doing in the air here is reworking the way we have to think on defense right now. I think with the air dribble, the first time we saw an air dribble, we remembered, okay, when we see someone go for that, we need to hang back. Now there's more tools at these players' disposal. Look at this. This is not a ceiling shot. It's like a wall ceiling type shot thing.
Same concept, but different execution, right? Coming underneath it.
Third here, J-Naps. This was maybe the most replayed play of the weekend. The wave dash pass, holy cow.
So, to kind of explain what the wave dash is, you'll notice just before his car hits the ground, he'll use a front flip, which is what propels his car forward so quickly, giving it to Rizzo. And honestly, huge props to Rizzo for being there. Why would he expect...
Forget Rizzo, J-Naps, that was play of the tournament. I don't know why it's number 3.
I mean, these two were pretty good.
Look at this.
Okay, that was pretty good.
Can you really say this wasn't better than that? I mean, these two were pretty equal.
I don't know if it was better.
It really just looks like Rizzo's like, I mean, I guess I'll go for this.
Yeah, maybe. What else can I do?
He just realized he was falling towards the ball. He's like, I might as well take the shot. Why not?
I don't even know how you calculate angles like that.
Okay, it's a North American top 5. Jacob has to be at number 1. Maybe the most absurd redirect I've ever seen. I
think just watch the defender. I think it's what makes these so much fun for me. Not only was he able to pull off this wild angle from the backboard, watch the defender. Just nope. Like, what do you do? He was totally there, but there's no way you can read that shot from Jacob. He's just a monster.
I feel like this entire top 5 was defenders going like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to think about that next time. I have to make sure I don't leave that open, because I didn't realize that was a shot, but apparently it was. That was all like 5, 4, and 1 were all just these absurd shots.
Rizzo's angle on that one, where he bounced off the wall and then landed on the ball. How on earth do you hit angles so tight like that? I didn't even know. The ball really had no room. He couldn't miss it.
It really just seemed like he hit it towards the back wall. He's like, well, I mean, I guess I'm kind of falling towards it. You see him use boost one more time, just kind of flip around, do some weird nonsense, and then it just jets right.
Kind of.
He's like, I don't know. Although his controls are weird. If you guys don't know Rizzo's controls,
that's true.
His throttle is on his stick.
It's like a remote control car.
Yeah, he has the throttle on the stick. So this is forward, this is backwards. I have no idea how he plays, let alone good. He plays really well. He's one of the best players.
The things that we saw him pull off in this tournament were things that months ago we would have been like, man, you got really lucky with that one. But 2 times in NRG's half in the finals, he pinches a ball with Fireburner straight into NRG's goal. How do you possibly plan that?
That has to be such.
And to do it consistently.
It has to be feels bad, man, for Fireburner.
Yeah,
that guy,
for real.
Known as the god of 50-50s, and then just every time he gets to a 50-50 with Rizzo, it's a goal. And not just to mention all the goals scored against him, but they couldn't score themselves in any game. I think NRG must have had 2 goals at most, or 3 goals in the entire series.
I think my favorite part was that I saw a post on Reddit of Fireburner lost to 50-50. That's what he got thrown up at Rizzo. Like, he's known that well for his 50-50s that when he does lose them, people make posts about it.
Yeah, exactly. And then seeing G2 come back and get the win, it was an exciting tournament. Was fantastic as far as you saw the top 5 plays there. Such great stuff. And next we have coming up this coming weekend, we're going to have the same thing happen, but over in Europe. So we'll have 8 European teams. It'll be same channel, same time. You can just watch it here on the weekend for the Brisk Summer Series from Europe. But the 8 teams we're going to be seeing here, so we take a look at the bracket. We're going to have Envious, Flipside, Leftovers, Infused, Gale Force, Method, Mocket, and then We Dem Moys, which is probably the team you are least familiar with here. That is made up of Shalset, Krasic, and Jazer. So some high-flying players there on We Dem Moys.
Seeing Jazer in a competitive setting, I think, makes us all a little excited. His mechanical prowess is pretty much unmatched. I don't think anyone can do what he can pull off. But again, looking fancy and looking fly doesn't win you games. There's a lot more to it. But if he can somehow mix those two throughout the next season, especially if using these, I'm loving these in-between season tournaments because it's giving like rosters time to like, oh, let's try this because everyone's going to be super try hard, thousands of dollars on the line. No one's going to be throwing it away. So I think it's really big for teams. But seeing a player like Jazer, who's known for his mechanical skill, trying to like go competitive still and trying to just kind of master the good combination of positioning and skill.
Well, I know that at the Gold Rush LAN event, Jazer was really set on actually coming back into competitive play. He kept telling us about how badly he really wants to be like a part of the RLCS again, right? And how much he misses it. And you know, when you work so hard grinding on that mechanical skill, I mean, you want to put it to the use, right? You want to like style on people and go crazy. And so, you know, honestly, I don't blame the guy.
Yeah.
Well, and we'll take a look at some of the teams here. And the team that We Dem Moys is facing off against is Envious. And this is the first time we've seen these guys play under their new org. This is the current reigning world champions of formerly Northern Gaming, now Envious. They stay with Maestro, their main, who did not play at LAN, but was their big, like, kind of main stage anchor of a player through all of the regular season. So these guys, We Dem Moys has to face off against them in round 1. This is a single elimination bracket. You lose once you're out. So is this, I want to hear from you guys, does Envious move forward here, or does Jazer and the company actually make a name for themselves here in the Brisk Summer Series?
I mean, just because Maestro didn't play at LAN doesn't mean Maestro is not like a LAN boy or still nuts, right? We saw him just dominate online all the way up until LAN, and because of his studies. It's not like he was playing badly or the former Northern Gaming or Envious roster, you know, it was just like, oh, we're just going to take Turbo, like forget Maestro, right? He's just not cutting it. Maestro was really, you know, had prior obligations, and Turbo came in and did them a favor. It's going to be interesting to see how they perform without Turbo. Nobody expected them, I think, to be so successful with the substitute. And I think actually the pressure's on Maestro this time because we all saw them really just.
I think this is huge. Yeah, I think this is huge for them. How they perform in this tournament, the results, and just how they work together, I think it's going to be huge and potentially the future of their roster. You know, I mean, we don't know the ins and outs of what they're going to be doing permanently for the rest, maybe moving into season 4. Maestro, we haven't seen him perform with this team now for several months throughout, you know, the end of season 3 and then coming through all of LAN and now this big rest period. We haven't seen them been able to play together as a full roster. So if they just kind of fall apart now, that might give them reason to be like, what do we do? You know, we perform well with Turbo. What's wrong now?
Remember, we talked about this going into LAN, that Northern Gaming was the team that we talked about. They were the question mark. They were a dynasty, but they were like in flux. They didn't have Maestro. They had Turbo. We didn't know what was going to happen. And then they win everything. And now they've dropped Turbo, or Turbo has left to go be a starter in another team because they're keeping Maestro as their starter. I feel like that question mark is still there about these guys. This will be the first time we've seen them play under their new name. And We Dem Moys, as much as I like them, I like that roster, and we all love Jazer, I have a feeling, my guess, I feel like Envious is going to take the win, and we'll only see them in one series, but still could go either way.
I mean, statistically, it'd be kind of unfair to not give it to Envious. I mean, they're literally the world champions right now. Even if they have one different person, you still have Remco and Devo, who spent an entire LAN just dominating everything, coming all the way through to the lowers, getting a reset, doing the unthinkable. I mean, that alone, I think, gives them, even if you just put those two, put anyone as their third, those two guys are just going to be so hard to defeat. I think it's kind of unfair not to give it to Envious, but I'd still love to see what We Dem Moys can bring.
I don't want to be unfair to Maestro. I still think that these guys are definitely favorites to win this tournament. I mean, how could they not be? Like you said, Remco, Maestro, and Devo is just like such a star-filled roster. I think that we're going to see Chaussette and Jazer really impress some people. People are going to forget that this is actually a strong team playing against Envious.
Yes.
But I don't think we can expect them to come through on top.
They win the name game, okay? We have a long history in Rocket League of Weedem boys puns with Weedem girls, then Weedem babies, and now we got Weedem boys as well. So I'm excited to see if they can continue on here. Moving on to another roster, the Leftovers, a team that became a beloved fan favorite here in RLCS Season 3. They change it up. They do not play with Farah anymore. Now they're playing with Pondex in this tournament. So Penta Sports splits up. Their players go all over the place. Freaky now playing a Mock It with Pashy, and we have Pondex over here playing with the Leftovers.
I pictured like they were in a container and like you just saw watching the players all like fall on the table. People started grabbing them, trying to pick them up. And honestly, Quinn, can they call themselves the Leftovers anymore at this point?
I don't really think so.
Fair?
No, I think they need to rebrand because these guys are not leftover anymore.
They don't need to rebrand.
This is the prime rib.
They need an org. They need an organization. I'm calling all the European organizations out. Pick up these people. They're fantastic.
or American. Envious is American.
Sure, why not? Why not? At this point, I just want them to have a slightly better logo. To be completely honest.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I mean, you know,
leave something to be desired.
It does its job.
They're named after food that sits in the fridge. Come on. And they're one of the best teams in Europe. But
in
thoughts
their defense,
about this. So
Leftovers are the best.
Farah, we liked Farah a lot. He became someone that we didn't know anything about. He was one of the favorite players by the end of Season 3. No longer on the roster. Pondex, how do you guys feel that Pondex fits in with Sicky and Snasky?
Honestly, I like it. It's hard to say, right? Because we only really got to see Farah for one season. We've seen Pondex for a long time. He's been around. He's shown us his skill. We've seen him in highlight reels. We've seen him do what he does best. Farah, you know, he had a season to prove himself, and I think he did so. But consistency is key in Rocket League. If you can't do it for season after season, I mean, prime example. Sorry, guys, but G2. You know, we saw them just take it in Season 1, and they've yet to even come back to land for 2 seasons.
Right.
So I think Pondex is a safer bet because he's been around a little bit longer. We've seen him in more consistent set. Farah, a little newer to the scene, but I want to know where he is. I want to keep following him for sure.
The reason I think they made this swap, right, this roster swap, is I'm guessing that Pondex just has some minor playstyle differences that make him more comfortable for Snasky and Sicky, right? I mean, when you just have success as a roster, it's really hard to make changes, right?
Sure.
We look at Envious, they were so successful all the way online even, right? Why would they make that change just because Turbo was successful with them at LAN? It wasn't ever something planned. It doesn't necessarily mean that this is the better long-term roster. And I think that even though they may have been successful with Farah, we don't know yet how Sicky and Snasky felt playing with him. I think this was like a personal personal change. I don't think that they had anything, you know, I don't think they think Farah's a bad player by any means. I think he's a great player. He proved that on stage. I think we're going to just expect to see really a new, stronger Leftovers.
I'm hoping it will be a good change for them. Pondex considered kind of the captain of clutch from Europe. He's the player that does the most clutch plays in the best situations there. So we're going to point out one more roster, talk about Gale Force, one of the favorites that has been a hot topic over in Europe. They came in second in DreamHack, made up of Violent Panda, K-Dop, and Turbo. That's, again, world champion players, grand finalist players here. Very, formidable roster, following to Flipside, who's also in this tournament. So both these teams kind of favorites to win right now.
I think we talked about it a bit earlier. This is kind of the roster of all of the people that are always just underneath someone's shadow all the time. You know, like Turbo was still on a team with Devo and Remco.
He was a sub.
Yeah, he wasn't even on. He wasn't even a starter. And then Violent Panda was underneath Pashy. I know Pashy 90 has a little bit more to him. He's been around a little bit longer. I think he's got a bit more of a fan base. Not to say that either are better than the other, but I think this is the team of just you know what? We want to be the stars. We're going to do it. And I've low-key always been a fanboy of Violent Panda, for the longest time.
This reminds me of iBuyPower Cosmic Season 1, which was the team of all-stars of Gambit, Kernovi, and Lachinio. It was let's take all these fantastic players from these other teams, put them all on one team, and see how it goes. Do you think we're going to see a similar situation, though, where everybody wants to be the star, everybody wants to be getting up and in the ball, or will they be playing successfully as a team here?
I don't think we're going to see that as much. I think these guys are all great players. I think that something that really hasn't been said very much about substitutes within Rocket League is that there's just the game as a whole doesn't lend itself well to having substitutes. It's very difficult to maintain consistency with a new fourth member. They really don't get to practice very much, if at all. It's not like, basketball where you're still practicing, every day before your games, and then on matches, you're staying on the bench, right? Usually, substitutes really don't get very much practice at all with their team. That's why when we saw Overzero Season 1, who just got thrown into that roster, everyone was so surprised at their success. Again, the same thing with Turbo Pulsa. I think that we're going to see, you know, a bunch of players who have kind of been in the shadows or making it to the finals, just not quite cutting it. I think we're going to see them come out with something to prove.
I mean, every single player here has.
Are all in the grand finals.
They've all been in the grand finals. Every single one of them has been in the grand finals.
Turbo's won.
Turbo has
Turbo's
now
the grand
won,
finals.
right? So when you really just think about what these people have under their belts, the experience they have, I think is something to really speak on for the roster. And Violent Panda and Turbo, as we know, have already done well not being the star. They already don't try and take it. And same with K-Dop. K-Dop's one of those, like, it's, and I guess it's more just like in game when I cast it, it's easy to just like kind of forget the K-Dop's about to win. Like, oh, I forgot K-Dop's here. He's about to just destroy everybody. Like, it's, I don't know, there's something about it. Just the way he plays is very simple, very calculated. And since it's not flashy and it's not always highlighted plays, you're like, oh, looks, K-Dop's just scored his 8th goal this series. And it's one of those things that's easy to forget.
He's a little flashy. He's very fast and fun to watch.
He's
What are you saying? He's definitely flashy.
Oh,
K-Dop has done some cool stuff.
What are we comparing it to?
Maybe he's not Jacob, but
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So, but here's the thing, though. We've seen K-Dop starting to develop.
Jacob is so flashy. We've coined the term Jacob stuff.
Hashtag just Jacob things.
At
Yes,
least get it right.
remember
Sorry.
Remember Jacob season 1? Jacob Kings of Urban season 1. And people are like, they're so good, and I'd be like, but I don't remember any of the plays they made. You know, to me, they weren't very flashy season 1, and they have just consistently ramped up in how deadly they could be. I think K-Dop, we could see a similar story here, because by the end of season 3 and at DreamHack, we saw him making absurd shots off the backboard of his opponents. So I think, guys, you know, before we jump to break here, thoughts, favorites for the tournament, Envious, Flipside, Leftovers, Infused, Gale Force, Method, Mocket, We Demoy. Some of those we didn't even touch on. Who's your favorites to win?
I mean, Gale Force, I think, is one of the ones that I'm really stoked to watch. These are always players that I think were on rosters that did really well, and now they're like, you know what, let's form like this weird all-star team that isn't always just like the top number 1. Like we are the ones that are always right there with the number 2, number 3. We're still always on the top of the stats board. They're always in the top 5 in something, whether it be shots or goals or passes. They're my favorite to watch. We Demoys are gonna be like I'm just gonna keep an eye on them because I just really want to see how they start to grow.
This is the team I want to be successful,
Yeah,
but it's not the team I'm counting on being successful, right?
Yeah.
You know.
That's the professional way to go about it for sure.
So
what about you?
I think that, yeah, We Demoy is going to be fun to watch. I'm really looking to see how Flipside are going to do as well. We're going to see how Mystic fits into that roster, right? I think he's going to fit in just great. We saw at DreamHack. Like, obviously it didn't take much thought to make that roster become concrete. I'd say beyond Flipside and We Demoys, probably Gale Force, really.
Yeah.
Gale Force and Flipside, favorites here. Favorites here on the desk. I'd love to see Infused, see if Doomsy can get a little bit farther in these tournaments than he usually does.
He's crushed me too many times. I can't put my faith in him.
The lovable losers, you know? They always come so close, and we all love them so much. Doomsy, love you, baby. But that'll do it here for our Brisk Summer Series preview. When we come back, it's going to be Carpet and Matt going head-to-head. Matt's here in the studio. We'll get a live interview for once, which is so much fun. Cannot wait to see that. We'll have that right after the break.
Skin for so long. Oh, I am in your head, so tell me, is it wrong? Oh, you fell under my spell, so well, so well. Oh, you fell under my spell, so well, so well. You fell under my spell. Watch me.
Welcome back to Overtime, but this time I've got myself a special guest. Matt from Rogue is here. How's it going, Matt? Thanks for joining me.
I'm good, thank you.
So, you know, I gotta ask everyone that comes through. Me and Waypunk we don't have a choice. How did you get into Rocket League? What was your story with it? I think we all have our own little way of how we got into the game. But what's yours?
So, I mean, obviously I've been a gamer my entire life. So I was just going through my Steam queue actually, and I found this game. I was like, wow, this looks like hilarious and fun. And so I actually bought it with my cousin, and I started playing it casually, just having fun, like using dumb toppers. And then I eventually started playing 1v1s like pretty seriously in preseason, and then that's like how I got into it. It was a bad experience.
1v1s. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you kept playing, and eventually, somewhere in the timeline, you must have met Sizz. And for anyone that doesn't watch, you all probably at this point know the Matt and Sizz combo. If not, even if you don't want to, you probably know Sizz by now. At what point did you run into Sizz and you guys start playing together?
I think I ran into Sizz around October of 2015, and it was during my 1v1 spree in preseason, and he absolutely demolished me. And then I found out he like played with like Quinn Lobdell with like Orange Creamsicle during like ESLs. I was like, wow, this guy's like really good, and I actually asked him to add me and like teach me how to play 1v1s.
That's actually a lot of fun. So I know for the longest time, and I know this from talking to a lot of top players, you guys slowly started to dominate the 2 slider. You just played constantly together, probably one of the longest standing duos, I'd say in North America, to be honest. When did you kind of make the transition towards wanting to try out 3s and do the competitive side of things? When did you feel like, hey, I'm good enough to be a competitor?
So I played with Sizz and 2s a lot just because like his personality is like so fun to be around. Yeah. And on the side, I made my own team. Like my first team was called Battlecard Galactica.
That was you?
Yeah. That was
I
me.
saw that roster on one of the big list of names, and I thought it was one of the best team names ever.
Yeah, no, that's an old name. But eventually we had to sub one of my players out, and then we just got Sizz because he was just on. And then like we played really well, and so I figured like why not transition this to 3s, because like ESL only did 3v3s at the time, so I was like, easy way to make money.
Yeah. So then eventually, we saw you in the RLCS with A-Money. That was your roster. It was you, Sizz, and A-Money working together. Yeah. And you really didn't perform too well. I think you guys came in like the last in the group stage for, I think it was season 2?
Season 1.
Or season 1?
Yeah.
Like, how did that make you feel? I know sometimes that can like really crush people. Did it motivate you? Did it make you feel like you needed to maybe give up? Like, where was your mind moving from that moment forward?
So my mindset kind of after losing wasn't like that, like, oh, I should stop playing. It was kind of more motivating because Sizz and I, we were like, as you said, we were the power duo, and then like we kind of knew that our third was bringing us down, so that we just needed like a new one, because A-Money was kind of like a last-second pick, and it just like didn't work out too well because like personalities and like skill and obviously things like that. And so we just decided like if we can get someone who's like equal to our level, we'd be able to like crush pretty easily.
What was it about you and Sizz working together? Like, how would you describe your guys' gameplay if that's too much of a heavy-handed question? Like, do you guys just kind of know where each other is all the time, or is it one of those like you just have such good communication?
I think that we've played with each other for so long. Most of our like rotational play and like passing is just like intuitive. Like we just like, know where someone will like probably be, and it typically works out. And just like that, like really, that like sixth sense kind of really helps when we play.
So eventually, you guys found Turtle, or Turtle found you. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. You mind telling me how did that happen? How did that roster come to be?
So basically we saw that, well, Sizz was a sub for Orbit for second season because he was working on school and stuff. And so when Orbit got last in season 2, I believe, Turtle like was already telling Sizz that like, oh yeah, I'm probably just gonna leave. And so Sizz thought it was like, yeah, me, Matt, and Sizz, like me, Matt, and Turtle, sorry,
yeah.
Would be like a great team because like I said, like the third, like the issue of finding like a suitable third, and like Turtle like fit the role like really perfectly.
Whether you guys wanted it to or not, you kind of became probably the North American favorite at this last lane. You guys had so much personality. Was that, I imagine that had to have been a bit of a surprise, because I know you guys probably came in semi-confident, but you know you had NRG kind of always there. NRG's kind of always making all of North America have a shadow cast over them. But how did it feel knowing like so much of the crowd was behind you guys?
Well, it was like a really good feeling actually, because like I know a lot of people like jokingly like say I hate Sizz in Twitch chat, but like Sizz's personality is just like really insane. Like it's just like such a crowd pleaser. And then like you have like Turtle with the American flag, like just like pumping everyone up. Like it's hard not to be a crowd favorite, especially in North America.
That was especially I remember like sitting there watching and just listening when you guys came out with that American flag. It's hard to describe to people that are watching on stream, but it's like this roar just came from like the back of the auditorium to the front.
Yeah.
You heard like just like 2,000 people screaming. It was really cool, and it caught us all off guard because I think we all probably expected like NRG was going to be the North American favorite, and you guys just came and took it all by storm. And there's a point in your life where you kind of have to admit you're a pro gamer. And I don't think it's ever anyone's goal. I don't think anyone's like, I want to be a pro gamer. It's in the back of everyone's heads, like, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But now with your org, I know you've been traveling around the world doing all these fun things. Like, how has that felt, just becoming like, well, this is real. Like, this is what you're doing right now?
Yeah, it's so surreal. Like, obviously, like you said, like the thoughts in the back of your head, like, oh, I want to be a pro gamer, but like it just like happens without you realizing. Like, I think I was in sophomore or freshman year when I started playing, and like I never thought like, oh, maybe this game will blow up and maybe I'll become like a pro and be like traveling all across the world. Like I just did like a thing in Amsterdam for Rogue, which was an insane experience.
Yeah.
And then like I'm playing all these tournaments. Like it went from like a Sunday ESL every week for like $150 to like a tournament every single day, like flying out everywhere for LANs. Like it's just an insane experience.
I remember we chatted at Season 1 LAN that was here in LA, and I just remember having the conversation where I think almost every player I talk to is always like, don't worry, Carver, I'll see you next season. Everyone has that. But it's so cool to see like you truly came with that. We saw you again, and then now we're seeing you at one of the top North American teams. And to touch on how you've been performing, you guys came 4th at DreamHack as the only North American team there, and everyone kind of says North America is weaker to Europe. How did it feel knowing you did that well against a lot of European rosters?
Well, I think it felt like especially validating considering that our flights there was just, all of our flights were terrible. Like Sis lost his luggage, Turtle got sick, and then Turtle got me sick. And so like we got 2 sick guys and like some guy without like clothes, and we're just playing, and we still managed to get 4th, which I thought was like a really good result.
Yeah. How did you feel about all the European rosters you went up against? Because some were new, some you hadn't really been able to play against. Was it more of like a fun experience?
I don't think it was as fun as like say LAN, because like obviously you have like the 2,000 people at LAN, and it's like North America bios, which is pretty nice. But yeah, no, it was still a really great experience. Like just like going around DreamHack and like showing off the Twitch Lounge wristband. It was nice.
So you are now one of the only 2 teams that has a bid into Season 4. What is your team's mentality going from here on forward? Are you guys, you have to grind it? Do you feel comfortable where you're at? Do you have like big grand plans for yourselves?
Well, I think that we definitely need to grind because like obviously we didn't get to play Rocket League for about a week because of Rogue being in Europe. And so I think we need to grind, but I think, at least what I believe, is that a lot of North American teams are probably just going to end up making teams like the last few days, and they're not going to be like too fresh. And so like we're just going to come out like fully like prepared and warm and just like destroy everyone, hopefully.
Well, you heard it here first, guys. Matt is going to come with Rogue and destroy it. Matt, thank you so much for coming. Thanks everyone else for tuning in, but thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate it. And when we come back, we're going to actually have some really fun stuff for you guys. We're going to be doing some Dream Team stuff between me and Quinn, so don't go anywhere.
got done talking to Matt. How'd that go? How'd that go, Carpet?
It went well.
Yeah.
Did you not watch?
I mean, I was getting some food.
Yeah. Got to get some snacks. Got to
yeah.
re-energize. No, it went really well. He's a great player. I'm sure you've chatted with him a few times.
Yeah.
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 All right.
Okay, so we talked about one player there. Now, we've had these guys put together their dream teams, top 3 players, whole world, had to put together a team. You're the coach. Who are you going to have? I think we're starting with you, Carpet.
Yeah, all right, I'll get started. So I gave myself a challenge, right? It's really easy to just look at your top stats and just pick, oh, these are clearly the best 3 in the world.
Sounds like an excuse.
No,
Are you coming
no.
with an excuse?
So I went with
He's
a
already
challenge.
defending
I
himself.
tried to go with more play styles and also people that like maybe are more low key. I had to have at least one dark horse on the team. So I'm starting off with Jacob, okay?
That's your dark horse.
That's my dark horse. I'm going to start off with Jacob. He's the #1 pull for my team.
Dark horse sounds like a flamethrower.
Will you stop it? I'm trying to talk. I think just his ability to look for his teammates all the time and passing, it's too hard to not have on a roster. He never really wants to shine to be the star, yet somehow he still always shines and does something weird and silly and stupid.
He's always trying to shine.
I mean, look at these passes. He just doesn't stop. He just gave that to Fireburner. Fireburner just kept watching and watching and watching, and then it dropped right in front of him. Eventually, it's going to show up because Jacob's. Look at him. Like, you can't stop it. I think it's too hard to not put on a roster. I love people that go for passing plays, and I think that, especially with the meta that Rocket League is slowly going towards, I think Jacob's a pretty fair bet for that. All right?
I think I'd put him on my roster,
I
too.
think he's good. And then I figured, okay, I wanted to take one from at least Europe and North America. So my European pick is going to be.
Spreading all the love.
You got to spread the love. You got to spread the love. I chose Sicky. Now, I've talked to a lot of players, and I had a lot of good conversation with Gregan, especially, because I saw him at LAN when he was back here. And he kind of opened my eyes a bit. We've always known Sicky's great, but when you watch his positioning, even in this little package, when you're going to see all of his shots, none of them are crazy. He just finds himself in the perfect spot all the time because it doesn't matter. He always knows where to be. He always knows how to get through whenever he has to. He knows exactly when to turn around to go for shots, and I think that paired up with Jacob would be really strong. Jacob just passes it. Sicky always knows where and when to be there. You don't want to overcommit, which is a big fear when you have someone like Jacob, which is why I think him and Fireburner work really well. You don't want to overcommit, but you also don't want to let all these beautiful passes just fall in front of the net and not get contested.
I mean, Sicky's got some pretty dope shots.
Yeah.
I remember playing against him in Season 1, right? We played against Genesis versus Monkey U. I remember thinking, okay, Pashy scored some sick goals, but it's Sicky who every time he clears the ball, every time he shoots, it is like just the scariest thing.
Yeah.
I was like, my heart dropped every time I saw him about to touch the ball.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that is where he is. He always makes sure that he's in a place to put a threatening shot on goal, and I think him paired up with Jacob would be really good. And my third is a dark horse. Now, everyone's probably going to go, why would you pick him? I'm picking Timmy, all right? Now, I'm picking Timmy for a lot of reasons. One, the dude played only weekends, and he still made it to LAN. Let's talk about that. The dude could only play 2 days a week, and he still made it to LAN. And I think usually he's a little bit shy, but he can do stuff like this whenever he needs it. He can get the double touches off the backboard. He can follow through every time he needs it. And I think paired up with someone like Jacob and Sicky, who are very confident and position themselves well, since Timmy's more of that filler kind of position where he finds where he needs to be by watching his teammates, Jacob does what he wants. I think we can agree.
Yes.
He just does what he wants.
Hashtag Jacob things.
Hashtag Jacob things. And I think since Sicky is so good at being where he needs to be, Timmy would fill that role so well. And I think with a player that could only play 2 days a week and is still this good, give him a roster that he can shine with, give him 7 days a week to play. I don't know if that's changed since he was at LAN. I don't know.
I don't know if like he's like lying to his mom and like sneaking in some hours or something, but I definitely see him in ranked more than twice a week.
Nope.
No?
Nope, you're
Really?
lying. I don't know.
Here's my question. Why when you're told create a dream team, are you like, let's put a dark horse on there?
Because that was my challenge because whenever you watch any
That
team,
wasn't your
He
challenge.
gave you a challenge.
I give myself a
Yeah,
challenge.
that wasn't.
The challenge was like a dream team.
Making a dream team's not a challenge. You could easily just pick top 3 across the board.
Okay,
And be
top
like, There's
3.
my dream team. I'm
Top
not going to
3.
do it. No, I already picked mine. Now you go.
Well,
you-
you picked mine first of all. At least one of them. I had Jacob up in there.
All
okay,
right.
So I got respect.
Okay.
Jacob was a good pick. Who else did I have in there? I can't remember.
You don't even remember?
It was like your own dream team.
No, I had Jacob, and then I had your boy, Cuxer97. Everyone knows I'm a huge Cux fanboy. I love you, Cux.
I think you're his biggest fan.
No, that's Jazer. That's actually
that's true.
Jazer.
All right,
Jazer,
fair.
I'm his #2 fan. Jazer's his #1 fan. But for real, Cuxer is insane. The #1 thing I think that impresses me most about Cux is that this guy never stops thinking. His focus is always there, and we always kind of talk about how Flipside needs to be like backs up against the wall before they start thinking. and that might be a little bit true, but Kux is paying attention all game long, picking up on habits on the other team, picking up on, you know, the opportunities that he's given, and he pays attention, and when opponents aren't paying attention or they let their guard down, that's when he chooses to take advantage of the mind games. It's just something really impressive. He doesn't just try and always go for fakes, this, that. He really picks and chooses his moments, and his mechanics are incredible, right? Like, everybody loves seeing those insane double touches that he became so famous for, right? After that, after Kux, sorry.
Keep going.
Kux, okay?
Yeah,
Yo, we're going to
Kux
get
is
to your
like-
dream team.
I'm surprised
in
you
enough
both didn't have Kux. Keep going.
Yeah, I don't know. He wants a dark horse.
Yeah,
I don't know what's up with that.
Bro,
How many times you put 3 stars together and they fall apart? Almost every time.
Gale Force eSports.
Who says they're all
We don't
stars?
know yet.
Oh, wait.
Oh, wait.
Oh, wait. They came in second. They're like a favorite to win Brisk. Continue.
Okay.
We don't know yet. They've only tried once.
I thought it was great.
All right.
Who's your, I wanted to say.
I had Kux. Next, JNaps.
JNaps, okay.
from G2, right? JNaps, in my opinion, he kind of takes on this role on G2 where he's just always the player that Kronovi and Rizzo can depend on, in the sense that when he clears the ball, you can guarantee this guy's getting an incredible clear. He pulls out beautiful shots out of nowhere. And honestly, he's probably one of the most well-rounded players in NA. We just see him with a great pass there to Kronovi. He can do just about everything. Look at this. He spots both players facing the right side of the goal. He hits it with the left side of the backboard that opens up a huge area of the goal and puts the defenders out of position. Something that's very small, but it goes unnoticed. And these are the things that I think make him like such a great player. Really, JNaps just can do absolutely everything. There's no part of the team that Kux and JNaps and Jacob can't all do collectively.
Yeah.
Really.
Your
One of the most well-rounded.
Your third is Jacob.
Your third is Jacob.
Yeah, Jacob's my third. I told you stole Jacob from my team.
Yeah, well, we got to go in order, man. All right, we
You know,
have a series
there's
of events.
coaching rules about stealing players from teams.
Jacob was my first pick, and I went first. So you poached him, buddy.
Can we just talk about the fact that none of you picked any current reigning world champions?
Okay,
Yeah,
hold on,
why wouldn't
hold
we?
on. I'm looking at
at the
Jacob here.
reigning world champion.
Look at this shot here from Jacob, okay? We watched Jacob with some sick passes. That's what Carpet thinks Jacob is only good at. But look at this dunk. He positions himself. He reads it so well so that the top of his corner is just going to catch the edge of it. And he pays attention to these things. Look at this. What?
That's actually the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
What a read off the
I
trajectory.
forget how stupid it was.
People really think that Jacob is all about passing and going for these weird plays, but really, he's Jack Walsh. He's just like the
Yeah.
rest, but he's a lot flashier.
I didn't pick a reigning world champion for the same reason I wanted to pick at least one dark horse on my team. It's too easy.
Because you
just
wanted to
pick the top.
lose? Like,
What's with this
Bro,
dark
what do you mean,
horse? What's
look.
with this dark horse? Can't they just be like, I don't know, underdogs are just not the
It's a
most
cooler
popular?
name. Would you rather be underdog or a dark horse?
Why do you have to be a horse?
Why's it got to be a dog?
okay, look.
Good point.
I think you can make an argument right now that Jacob is the #1 player in the world. I think that's an easy one. So I think I'd definitely give it to you. Both putting Jacob. Then we got.
Well, I don't know about #1 in the world.
Cookster was like widely regarded as the #1 player of the year last year, considerably good player. But you're telling me you're picking Timmy Selfless that didn't win anything at LAN to be on your
What? They
number.
were top 4 in North America. Are we gonna brush past that? They made it to LAN.
They
and
made
only
LAN,
played
they
weekends.
lose twice.
Okay.
Who cares?
Definitely should have been.
They didn't
Kux.
have Dapper for half the
Yo,
time.
there's respect for Timmy. But Kux definitely should have been in your list. The guy went up against Hungrybox in that little Twitter vote.
That's true.
And he
Yeah.
almost won. It was like
Popularity.
48%.
Hold on,
Hungrybox
did you
has
say
like
he almost won?
100,000
Are
viewers.
you telling me you picked Cookster because of a
100,000 followers.
popularity contest on Twitter?
I don't know, man. And he lost it on top of that.
Yeah, that he didn't win.
Well, it's like 14K versus 100,000 followers. And it was like almost.
It was the entire Rocket League community versus just Hungrybox's followers. Let's be real here.
Well, there's a lot of Hungrybox followers.
Yes, there are. It's been around considerably longer. I still can't believe you guys didn't have Devo.
Yo,
either
Devo
of
is
your
good, but
You're not
I
wrong.
just didn't think he would fit my roster.
Because when I was looking for more play styles, I had to find in my head the drastic one. Who do I think is the best at passing?
Who
do
is
I
the
think
darkest,
is the best positioner?
horsiest
Who is the
player?
darkest, horsiest player? All right,
You
so
were the
I
best
think
at passing. You didn't go with JNaps.
no, I went with Jacob. I think Jacob's unorthodox. I like his
Did you
unorthodox
see the
play a
wave
little more.
dash pass?
Did you see everything Jacob's done for 3 seasons?
The wave dash pass.
You're not wrong, but Jacob's been here for
That's
a
why I
little
have
longer.
both.
Oh, exactly. That's why I don't. I can't have 2 passers. You can only have one.
Okay. You're just gonna pass to yourself? The one passer is just gonna
Jacob.
pass to himself?
Jacob,
Can't pass the rest of the team?
I had to go with the extremes. Jacob, I think, is one of the best passers. Siki, I think, one of the best positioners. And then somebody I think would fit, has a lot of room to grow, and would still perform really well. I had Timmy.
I do like that Timmy. He's easily fits into the back role of any. Like we saw that when Selfless was playing the
Is that
best,
just 'cause
when
he's the
Timmy was the
sub?
sweeper.
Huh?
Turbo just fits in because he's the sub?
Yeah, pretty
Overzero
much.
Just fit in
No,
'cause
Timmy
he's
wasn't
the
a sub this year. Pluto was the sub.
Oh, true, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Timmy started off as a sub.
He
did.
Started off as a
He
sub.
did. And then Pluto took a step down. Didn't feel like
Did
he
he
was
take a
performing
step
too well.
down, or did Timmy take a step up?
I think that was actually.
I do remember it being Pluto's decision.
I think Pluto didn't feel like he was performing well, which I thought was really respectful, to be honest. To
Yeah.
be like, you know what, you do it. We saw that, I think, on another
you could
roster
say
in North America as well.
Pluto
That was Low
really
Five
just-
stepped down
I
off
think
of.
Low Five stepped down
Mocket.
for, who was it?
Was it Mocket? It was
Yeah.
Mocket. Yeah, Mocket and Nate.
But who did he have to take his place? It was Zane Jackie. He had Zane
Zane
Jackie
Jackie,
take
yeah.
his place. That was in season 1, I think. Yeah.
Wow, that was a long time.
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
But you guys kind of just missed my whole Pluto's so selfless.
Pluto's so.
Selfless jokes are bad on a
Dude,
team
the
called
puns are
Selfless.
my thing, okay?
Yeah. Bad puns are his thing.
Back off. It's in the name. Wave pun.
Oh,
You've done that before, too. It's not even the first
It's
time.
We're moving
my
on.
favorite one.
We're moving on.
Moving on. Well, okay, we can sit here and argue about top 3 players in the world all day long, but we're gonna stop it here. When we come back, we've got some updates to give you on some community tournaments that happened, and then also there is a huge patch for Rocket League coming out. We are all so pumped for it. I cannot wait to talk about my favorite things that are coming to Rocket League very, very soon. Today, it's gonna be fun. See you guys after the break.
Took me down, and you're feeling alone. So long, darling. Right here and now, we can try this again. If you're here, darling. I finally see what I need to be free. Far from what I was meant to be. No holding back, I've made up my mind. Seeing what's next, I'm not sure what I'll find. Holding the key firmly in my hands. I'm looking for, I know where I stand. And this is it, I have nothing to lose. Now is the right time, I'm making my move. I'm on a high now. You can't bring me down. I'm on a high now. You can't bring me down.
Welcome back to RLCS Overtime, ladies and gentlemen. Just got done talking about the Dream Teams. Carpet still wants Dark Horse on his team, not sure why, but you know, we're just gonna let him have that at this point.
Thank you.
It's been a lot of stories this day of Overtime. It's been a lot of fun. I talked about being wave punk and why. Carpet, I want to hear your favorite community story from back in the olden days before RLCS Go.
My favorite, that's not fair. I'm going to want to pick my own.
That's fine.
What
That's-
a history lesson.
Bias is okay.
My favorite, I don't know if anyone have been, how we met. Oh, wait a second. That actually might be amazing. We could tell the story how me and Quinn met. You want to hear that one?
Yeah, I want to hear that. I've not heard the
All right,
story.
so this is before I was competitive, but I had a lot of time on my hands, and I was still playing a lot.
He had a lot of time on his
a lot of time on my
But
hands.
definitely not competitive, if you know what I'm
I
saying.
wasn't competitive yet, not at the time, and I was playing with two of
Be
my friends,
graduated,
okay?
but haven't found a job level of time on your hands.
I was playing with, actually I can't say their names out loud. I just remember what their usernames were. But I was playing with two of my friends, and we ran into some people. We had just hit the level master, and this is when that was actually kind of rare. This is before people I don't think there was a Rocketeer yet at the time.
No, there wasn't.
No one had hit Rocketeer yet. So we hit master, and we were super stoked. We go to play a game. We get destroyed. And someone on the other team was like, LOL, what are you, real masters? Because at the time, there were people that were faking their level. Now, that other person happened to be Quinn Lobdell. So it was friendly banter. I think he just thought he was against some people that were whatever. But one of the players I was playing with at the time.
To be fair, it was like 5-0 and like the game was just getting started.
It was bad. Yeah. It was like 5-0, like 2 minutes in.
It was totally reasonable for me to ask.
It was.
How you put so many hours into the game and we're still so bad.
You heard it right here, folks. If you're beating people by 5-0 at 2 minutes, it's okay to be toxic. That's what Quinn just said.
Oh, to be fair, you had Edwin
I never said
carrying
it's okay
you.
to be toxic.
Edwin was carrying you, so it's
Edwin
really
was
not your fault.
carrying me.
Yeah, Edwin was carrying you at the time.
Lordy.
So, anyways, one of my teammates was really peeved about it. He was really peeved. So he made a Reddit post being like, I used to be a fan of Orange Creamsicle, which Quinn Lobdell was on with Edwin, the guy that carries him all the time.
Sure, it's true.
And like it was this big like it wasn't actually that big, but as far as the subreddit was concerned, and it was the first time you'd ever gotten that kind
important
of
detail. This was like back before Orange Creamsicle used to be like hugely relevant.
Okay.
Like, back when there were no teams really relevant except for Iberpower and
Cosmic,
Cosmic, right?
yeah.
Even Kings of Urban was like a stretch.
Yeah.
Right? Not many people follow them. So like I never really considered the fact that people actually knew who I was at the time, as far as being a member of Orange Creamsicle.
You weren't used to being a
changed.
public figure.
Things
Right,
have
yeah.
changed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's like a lesson a lot of pros had to learn. Like just
So-
about every
Yeah.
single one in the Rocket League community.
So being the gentleman you were, you commented, you're like, dude, I'm super sorry. Like, we honestly just thought we were going
yeah, I
against
didn't
people.
know I had actually really hurt his feelings. Or
Yeah.
I remember he told me at least he was upset.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, you genuinely thought it was people that were kind of cheating the system. So it was a reasonable, like, come on, don't do this. You're kind of ruining the game. So you said, like, hey, I'd love to reach out to you and your teammates and help you. I can teach you some stuff. Maybe we can play some and I'll teach you what I know. And I was like, he linked it to me. I'm like, oh, sweet. I wasn't really that mad about it, but free lessons from a guy who's on the pro team, I'd love that. So I pestered Quinn for probably months, right?
Probably?
Yeah, definitely months.
It was months.
Well, you were always so like, yeah, I'm just busy now, but next time I'm like, cool, I'll just message you in a week. And then like a week later, I'm like, hey, you got some time?
It was
He's
like every 2 days.
it wasn't that often. It was pretty often.
It was pretty often, but
yeah.
I did offer.
And then you started the PPL.
And then I started a league called the PPL, Pulsar Premier League. And that's actually kind of what turned me on to getting more competitive when I got to see what people could do, and like you were showing me things I didn't think were possible, all sorts of stuff. And then I ended up forming an entire league based off of it. That was like all these tiers. I think it was a little before its time. We talked about it. It had like divisions. It was like, it took me probably like 200 hours to plan it and get it all planned out. We kept track of everyone's stats
just
across the board.
Taking it from any
Yeah.
any professional sport that has a relegation league, he could have just completely copied their system.
Yeah.
Nope, I designed my own.
No, well, but you run a community league. We talked about the community leagues last time. We can give you an update on some of the tournaments and how they went from this past weekend. The Beyond Astronaut tournament, I believe, is what it was called. Is one of the tournaments that happened here, and believe it or not, Applesauce comes out with the victory here. Who is Applesauce, Quinn?
Applesauce is Zolhe, Chicago, and Hato. And these are 3 players that are really quite seasoned. They've been around for a very long time, and just through sheer dedication and willpower, these guys have grinded and grinded and grinded. And really, they're starting to, break into that upper
Well,
echelon
they
of
beat.
play, right?
They beat. You saw Take 3 came in second there. NRG and G2 were in that tournament, and they were
Defeated
able
by
to get the
Applesauce.
victory here.
They couldn't handle the applesauce.
And this is what I love about community tournaments is that this team, Applesauce, we've never talked about before on the RLCS or stage of any sort or on overtime or anything. And because they come out and win a community tournament here, now people know who these guys are. This is exactly how the community tournaments work. It's all about getting an opportunity to make a name for yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
This team in particular, definitely all guys that within the pro scene, you'll have come up against them multiple times, and if you mention them to another player, they would know who they are. But as far as the whole team and just their standing within the community, this is what gets you seeded for RLCS, for instance. These are the kinds of things that put you on the map to get picked up by organizations or to really just have any relevance within the community whatsoever. I know that without
What a heavy
community
sentence.
tournaments,
Any
right?
relevant in the community whatsoever.
Yeah, you're nothing without leagues like PPL, without the Pro League,
Pro League
without
was it, dude.
Pro Rivalry League, Nexus, so many tournaments. I'm sorry for all the other ones that I got coming to my mind right
There's
now.
quite a few right
There
now.
are quite a
You,
few.
you mentioned Nexus. Nexus is the other tournament, the other organizer, community organization that had a tournament this week that we can take a look at the results from what happened there. I believe it was NRG that came out on top with the victory. They were able to pull this one out over the Muffin Men and Ohana. And this is a good bounce back for NRG. Again, these community tournaments, I think you could talk to this, Quinn. I feel like the pros generally don't take this as seriously as they do something like the Brisk Summer Series or a DreamHack or the RLCS main stage. So the fact that you see teams like Applesauce winning isn't necessarily, it's not as if they were to win in RLCS, but to see NRG bounce back after losing to G2 is a good thing here.
I will say that I think the not taking community tournaments as seriously is a North American problem.
Oh, okay.
I don't think
Call
EU
that,
teams.
boys.
I mean, I'm just calling it how it is, right? I don't think EU teams slack nearly as much when it comes to entering these tournaments. I mean, if you're going to be a professional player, you're going to take this seriously, and you want to improve, you want as much practice as you can get, and you want money, right?
Here's a funny story. I remember watching one of Pashy's YouTube videos where they're playing in a Gfinity, and it's just like him playing in his perspective and his team's comms, and they were playing in the Friday. Gfinity was running Monday and Friday tournaments for 3v3 Rocket League in Europe, and they were playing in the Friday one, which was a bigger prize pool. And they were like, "Man, yeah, we're playing this is like Mocket." They said Flipside won the last one. And they're like, "Yeah, that was the Monday one, which isn't as big of a deal." And they're like, and then someone on the team was like, "Yeah, but they got the money, didn't they? And there wasn't as many people to play against, right?" And they were like, "Huh, I guess we should play in the Monday one, shouldn't we?" To watch them be like, "Why are they playing the Monday one?" And be like, "Oh, wait, we figured it out, and we totally should do it." And yeah, it's exactly what you're saying. It's a place to practice, a place to scrim, a place to get some extra cash in the meantime.
No, not a place to scrim.
I mean, well,
it's a place
sure.
to develop your tournament skills, which are a completely different thing than scrims and even just ranked play. I mean, you've mentioned before that playing on the ranked ladder is just not even close.
No.
To being the same thing as entering into RLCS or entering into any kind of tournament, even community tournaments, because when you have, you know, a limited amount of lives, right?
Sure,
you know, your duration of the
Yeah.
tournament is finite, right? You're just not going to last forever. I mean, you start to get that adrenaline, you start to, you know, the nerves going wild. And,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a whole different skill. So it's important that just like practicing in free training, you have to develop that skill by practicing in tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what round you're in, round one or the final round in the finals.
Oh, yeah.
If you lose a single game, you get your level goes up, right? Like one more level of adrenaline and like nervousness. You're just like, all right, we've lost one. We're 2 losses from getting knocked out. Even if you have 2 wins, you still have that, like, they were able to take a game off us. If they can take 1 game off us, they can take all the games off us. Because obviously they found us at our weak spot, or they were able to outperform us whenever we weren't ready for it. And it was one of the most exciting things for me, especially when I did compete. I know you competed way more often than I did.
Oh, yeah.
But like when there's money on the line, especially early on in the scene, everyone wants to prove themselves. You want to make it on the power rankings. That's all we had.
Oh, yeah, the power rankings.
You made the power rankings, or you were nothing.
Yeah.
You were nothing. And it was like, I saw it. So many players were like battling just to make that top 10, battling to make a bubble team.
Those power rankings were.
It was fun because
did not want to be around
they were
there, man.
completely subjective.
No,
you know,
yeah.
it was decided by a committee, and everyone always railed against it. Like, no, I can't believe you put that team at number 2 or whatever. And now it's fun because with RLCS we have kind of like much more stable rankings. Like, oh, you're the world champs, you're the reigning world champs. That doesn't change for a while. But the thing is that these community organizations, there was no way to like solidify them. So the power rankings had to become a thing, and so that's why those community tournaments so important there. And we saw it Nexus is actually a pretty new community organization here. They split off from another org and made their own group here called Nexus. And so as Rocket League is evolving, we're consistently seeing new organizations. The community is thriving. We're now in our 2nd year of Rocket League, which brings us to the huge update that's coming into Rocket League. I cannot wait for everything that's coming here. We'll roll the trailer. You'll get to see everything that comes as we got to see it when they showed it for the first time at Season 3 LAN. But these guys, the stuff that they continue to put in the game, I remember feeling like there was, the first time they put an update, I was like, ooh, this is super cool.
These
and they
jams.
put another one out. It was like, just at the same time, you're like, I'm starting to kind of get stale with Rocket League. No, they pump all this new energy into it. And this stadium is, I think this is the biggest seat capacity we've seen at any Rocket League stadium so
The
far.
egg people shall thrive.
No, there's so many, at least 200,000 in attendance.
I don't know what the lore is with those egg people, but we need to find out.
I mean, this to try and encapsulate what it takes to be a LAN, I'm sure the crowd's going to be a lot louder.
Big deal.
Season 5 beginning.
Starting today. This patch is dropping today, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is true. So make sure you keep your Steam updates on.
We've seen no Paladin anything. And we get a new Paladin and a new Venom car, which was super
Not
exciting.
a new Venom, but like a kind of modified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it after it rolls, but that guy, oh my gosh.
We've been asking for this
Whole
so long.
explosion.
Skull?
People wanted this so long. Custom trails, custom engine sounds, custom gold explosions. It's like they took all the Reddit posts from the last 2 years, compiled them, And let's not talk about the juicy music. Everyone says the Rocket League's got some of the best game music of all time. And now they're like, let's just pair up with Monster Cat, some of the best EDM out there, some really fun tracks. They're coming out, what, let's say like 15 tracks or something like that?
18
tracks? I still underestimated it.
I remember, okay, League of Rockets, talking about community orgs, League of Rockets is one of the coolest and most unique with the way that they produce their content. And they had a trailer for the 12 Titans, and they substituted in different engine sounds. They said it was like a GT, like V8, like kind of engine underneath an Octane. And and just to see it like take off with that like beefy, bassy engine sound, I was like, oh, that game just got so much cooler. I was like thinking about these cars as like massive, like think of them as like monster trucks. Like if you're like as tall as an Octane's tire, think about how much cooler and more badass Rocket League becomes, you know?
Yeah, he's got a point. And it's really funny because ever since the beginning, we've seen people be like, it'd be so cool if you had custom goal explosions. Hey, Sonics, you should do this. Or, man, I would love to have different
guess
sounds.
what?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sonics is like, we did it. And I think it's the fact that they listen to everybody. And when you really just think about where this game came from, I mean, I think I got the game like the third day it was out. And compared to now, it would have seemed bare bones, but it still had a lot of stuff. A lot of content. There were constantly new cars to unlock. There were some new items to unlock, new paint jobs.
I remember at the time, you couldn't even have multiple car presets for the longest time.
That
Remember how
was
long that
very,
took to
very
come
recent.
out?
Yeah.
I mean, they still got it out there, so shout out to Psyonix. We know you listen.
Yeah,
we love you.
It's fantastic.
But for real, I remember just how excited, like, Psyonix really put so much effort on their constantly updating the game, and so.
Well, you remember, I think the first big update that happened was Wasteland. And you booted up the game, and the way you see it's Manfield Night with your car is on the main menu, and they switched it, and their car was sitting on Wasteland. And it was like, whoa, the whole menu looks completely different. I immediately went and customized my car to be more like bleached out colors and stuff, so it would like match the Wasteland vibe.
Mad Max type of thing.
Yeah, it was way, way cooler the way that you could customize things. And I think, honestly, when they introduced the garage where you could have multiple car presets and you could set things to either the blue side or the orange side, I was like in my bathroom reading it, brushing my teeth, and I like threw it down and like fist pumped the air, and I was so excited because I was like, yes, I wanted this for so long. I was so pumped.
Having to go and change your car every single time, it definitely got a little bit infuriating because I love so many items, and I wanted to put so many items in the game, and I just had to revamp my car like every other game because I'm like, maybe Dominus, no, maybe Octane. I really like the way this looks. And all the new cars have been a lot of fun too. I really have enjoyed, like I think my favorite new car that's come out is like the Masamune. I love that car.
Oh, cars. Speaking of, respect to Psyonix for normalizing it, and really creating a much more vast, type of just inventory of hitboxes for all the players to use. There's so many different types of cars, and they all have different like specialties, I guess you could say, or different attributes which make them more effective certain ways.
Yeah, it's within a very kind of limited range. There's no like clear defender or clear offensive car, but the two new cars that are coming out, the two new cars that are coming out, I'm blanking on the names now, the Centio and the Animus, I believe they are. They're like the Venom and the Paladin, but they have been made more competitive. So if you don't like those hitboxes, trust me, you'll like them a little bit more. We could go on about this for a long time. We got to wrap it up here. It's been a great episode of Overtime. Thank you guys for coming out. Findable Carpet, Quinn Lobdell, I'm myself, Wavepunk. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you this weekend, I believe it is. This is when we're going to have the Brisk Summer Series for Europe. It'll be fantastic. Stay right here on the channel. Until then, for the next 36 hours, it'll be great. See you next time.